Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet.
Richard here.
And we've got an exciting show because we're going to be talking to Pierce Azlin from the brand new, exciting restaurant, delicious restaurant, Azlin.
Thank you for having me.
And we want to be about this close.
Okay. I'm definitely new to that. Been on news, never on a podcast.
Cheers! Here we are. We're going to celebrate the best restaurant in town, and we're going to have some parties there.
I was about to say, how new is it?
So I acquired it in January, but I didn't open it until end of March, soft opening.
Okay, cool.
So we're finally going up. So about 4 or 5 months now.
Very exciting.
But
What is the style of cuisine?
It's all over the board. So I've cooked at 53 different restaurants throughout the valley.
Just so you know what you sound like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You cooked at how many restaurants?
53.
53.
Okay, and we got to hear about the whole entire,
Wow.
his beginning
That's
and how we
impressive.
got into it, because it's a big deal.
And that was just in
Yeah.
3 years, right?
I wish. I'm squeaking up to almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
I
How'd you get your start?
out of high school, Food Network was getting huge at the time. I have an older sister. Her name is Britt. That's 5 years older than me, and she was working at this amazing restaurant called Soli Sombra.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
Aaron May and Quinn Goldsberry.
Yeah, Aaron May.
You know Aaron May?
Oh, sure.
Okay, I've
So I
heard the
worked-
name.
I worked with him for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And I had the privilege to work at Soli Sombra when it was the hottest restaurant at the time. It was in DC Ranch Market Street, really swanky, beautiful, amazing sunset. And there wasn't a night that you couldn't see so many celebrities there, and pro golfers and Frankie Muniz and all these other people. And it was a really cool start as this really young kid.
How old were you when you started?
I started there at 16.
Wow, 16 years old.
Mhm.
So it was
Way to do it.
It was a lot of fun. Started as a food runner, bar back,
Yep.
busser, just whatever they needed me to do, and I just kept on picking it up. And I wanted to save money for culinary school. And at the time, Aaron May was the owner. Walter Sterling, who owns
I know
Ocotillo,
Walter.
he was the chef, but he was transitioning out because they were about to open. At the
Yeah.
time, it was called
Occidental.
Icebox, and what was the?
This is pre-Occidental?
Yes.
Okay.
It was Icebox and another place right below, right next to Cowboy Chow. They were trying to open two at the same time. So
Oh.
Walter.
Oh, I loved Cowboy Chow.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
wonderful. So they were focused on that. And Peter Bondis was the guy that took over as the chef, and he worked at La Bernardin in France for Eric Ripert, Mary
Oh,
Lane's
wow.
back in the day.
Oh, sure, Mary
Mary
Lane.
Lane, sure.
Yes.
So
At the
he-
Venetian.
Yeah, so
Yes.
he had an amazing repertoire behind him too. And I guess one day I was off, but my sister was working and was telling them oh yeah, my little brother's saving up for culinary school, and they're like, don't waste your money, just learn
Yeah,
here. So they started
right.
asking me to do little prep shifts in between
Great.
and stuff like that, and just kept on doing it. And I started doing more prep and less front of house shifts and transition into it. And
Yeah.
then Peter would open brunch by himself on Sundays, and their brunches were popular. And he's like, hey, do you want to be my little brunch companion on this? And I started doing it. And,
That's the
Wow.
way to go, man.
just lucked out and really fell in love with it. And just
So
stayed
now
with
you're
them.
17 or 18 doing this?
Yeah, I think I was 18 by the time I was in the kitchen.
Because we're going to get to all the facts and going, I want to hear the whole order, but you ended up working for Sam Fox for what, 12 years or so? 10
just
years?
10.
10
Yeah,
years.
just
That's a long
about
time,
10.
a decade. Okay.
But the point
As
is,
one of the head
instead
chefs.
of going to culinary school, you got to work with a lot of different chefs in different types of restaurants for a long
Absolutely.
period of time.
Yeah.
That's an education in itself, of course.
Exactly. Because you're just learning straight.
Learning by doing, by experience.
Oh,
And
yes.
And a chance to work with different chefs in an actual
And
restaurant.
seeing everybody's so particular and has their own ways, and learn from
Yeah.
other great people. And
Yeah, yeah.
Peter, Aaron May and Walter are unbelievable, because Aaron May went to Le Cordon Bleu in France.
Mm.
And then his first mentor out of culinary school was Mario Battelli.
Wow.
So he had a huge thing. Walter is one of the best chefs I've ever worked for.
Walter is
He's
amazing. Yeah,
unbelievable.
I know.
And his Spanish food is the best Spanish food. That's what made me fall in love with Spanish.
I love it.
Tapas and stuff like that. He's a master when it comes to it. And then Peter working for Mary Lane's and Eric Ripert. I couldn't have
Wow.
asked for a better start
Yeah,
and better
that's
mentorship
great.
to have around me. So I was very thankful for it.
And then from that, how did you get to Sam Fox?
After Soli Sombra closed down, because DC Ranch got really aggressive with their rent and stuff for everybody. That's why, even Grimaldi's and Eddie V's and all these places, weren't there anymore. Aaron didn't want to play with it, so he opened an Over Easy and I think he called it 18 degrees inside that Altel Ice Den. So it was like comforty food and breakfast, but he took all of us there, so we opened that up. And then he really wanted to do a Mexican place, and it was when Cityscape was getting developed, and he was the first restaurant
Downtown?
Yeah, he was the very first restaurant in Cityscape before Sam Fox opened Arrogant Butcher.
Yeah.
So we were a small little place called Vitamin T, and it stood for tacos, tamales, and tequila and tortas. And it was just really good, authentic, like Mexican street food.
And you were chefing.
Yeah, that was the first. That was actually the first spot that I became like the executive chef / like GM at it, because it was small enough. But me and Peter took that over, and then Peter started to consult with Aaron because Copper Blue Stand Up Live started getting open up, and they reached out to Aaron because of him being well known, and they wanted him to develop the menu. So Peter and him went over there.
I love Stand Up Live. It's like my favorite comedy venue.
Oh yeah, it's
Really?
so much fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
It's a
And
great
you were
venue.
right there. How old were you at that point?
The music is good at Copper Blues too.
yeah. No, it's wonderful. It's a fun experience.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like it's nice that you have that separation.
But the
too.
food actually is pretty good. Like
Yeah.
every time I've gotten food at Stand Up Live, I was like, wow, the food for a comedy club is actually very good.
Yeah, which
I've
was
been there with you before.
Yeah.
You took me a time or two.
it was a harder one to do too because of the sheer volume they did. By that time, I think I was 20 at the time, and I was about to be 21 because I remember I still couldn't drink yet.
And sometimes people are
legally.
just kids at 21. I mean, they're not thinking
Well,
about
and
their careers.
looked-
That's incredible.
I looked very young at the time. Like,
You still do,
I
actually.
appreciate that. But it was a lot of fun. And then when Vitamin T, like, because we had certain hours, because downtown is very specific on events and stuff like that. So I would go over to Copper Blues and Stand Up Live and help them develop the menus and like work with them and just, I don't know, at the time I just wanted to work all the time. So
Sure.
I would open and work at Vitamin T until it closed down and then go over there for the nighttime shifts and just keep on helping them out.
Wow, you were really aggressive about trying to
Yeah, I wanted to
survive, or not survive, to thrive.
Yeah, I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could and be around as many people because you do pick up so many things from so many different people. And I've had amazing mentors, but I've learned more from some people like dishwashers and prep cooks that have been doing it for so long
Bingo.
that you would never even like assume. Or
Exactly.
people like, oh, you have to get a big name. And I learned from so many of these guys that are just lifers that are doing it. And I'm like, how'd you do that? And they're like, oh, do it this way. I'll show you. And I'm like, what? No, the chef told me to do it this way. They're like, same result, and it's gonna be way faster. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Like what's an example of that? Give me an example.
I mean, there's a lot of prep things and stuff like that. You'll see people that are telling you to like, oh, like go through and like cut the onion like this, do this, and then you're working at one at a time, and you'll see the other guy like just grab a whole bag and he's just cutting out all of them in half at first, and then doing like all the process like that, and it's like just little things that you're like, oh, it does make more sense to do that, and like it's more efficient. It's just funny little things that you would see.
Well, something very exciting. We're going to get to all the details about his new restaurant, but it's very sustainable, and you're all about local and fresh and supporting, you know, Arizona produce and people, the bread, the noble bread, and all that. So we're going to get to that. But so now you're working for Sam Fox.
I'm so Vitamin T.
Okay, Vitamin T.
Aaron and the owners of the Cityscape had a disagreement on rent, and
It's always that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's how restaurants are. You know, you have a lease, and then when the lease comes up,
yeah, we started getting a ton of recognition, winning a bunch of awards.
yeah,
So they wanted to jump everything up on him.
Yeah.
They almost
Okay,
like
so-
started doubling it, and he just didn't want to play ball. And we were so focused at
That's
Copper
so
Blue Stand Up
common.
Live at the time because of it becoming a madhouse of how popular it started getting. He decided to just let him have the keys. So I went over there for about a year. Yeah, I think a year because I think I left at 22.
So young.
And it was fun. It was a lot of late nights and stuff, and it was cool getting to cook for all these amazing comedians. And like, there'd be times that I'd be cooking, and like, at the time, Cat Williams was like one of the biggest, and he's just sitting in the corner watching me like make pizzas and stuff. And like,
That's so cool.
Cheers! That's so cool. Cheers! 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 It's so cool. To Azlin.
Yeah,
At the Clarendon.
it was a lot of fun. Just getting to meet some of my favorite like comedians, like Joe Coy at the time was huge, and I got to cook for him, and all these wonderful experiences. And then when I left, I really didn't understand the business side. I knew how to cook. I felt very confident in it, but I didn't know how to really, really run and operate a profitable like business, let alone like just a whole on restaurant. So at the time, Fox is blowing up. Everything they did was just profiting, making money, and everybody was talking about it. And he was starting to get James Beard nominations for Restauranteur and all this stuff. So there was no other place I should go, like in my mind. So I went there and
at 22.
Yep.
Okay.
22, and I remember I applied at Culinary Dropout at 7th Street because they just opened up. And the chef at the time was a guy named Chris Wolven, who's incredible. But I remember I stepped in, I handed him my resume, and he was like, "What are you looking for?" I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "I have to call my boss. Like, I'm not gonna hire you as a cook." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But they just opened Little Cleo's, which was a seafood.
Oh,
Little
yes,
Cleo's
yes,
was
yes,
awesome.
yes.
And Eric Ramirez was the chef at the time, who now he's like the chef consultant for Nelson's.
Oh, sure.
So
Nelson's,
so
the
he
meat
does-
place.
Yeah, seafood.
Yes.
Meat.
Yeah.
So he does all
Meat,
their
so-
like
seafood.
fun like things, and like if you ever see like the grab and goes or any of their like dinner like setups that's like, oh, go home, cook it like this, he creates all that stuff.
Wow.
He's phenomenal as well.
Chad, have you heard of Nelson's? It's a little tiny local
No, I
place.
haven't.
There's two of them now.
What
Yeah.
street is it on?
So the original one's right next to what is
I
it,
see that
Wayward Tortoise, the
Yeah, yeah.
brewery. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
24th and Indian School.
Indian School, yeah.
Yeah, and then the newest one is
North.
right next to Hush Public House up in North Scottsdale.
Yeah,
Okay.
Like on Scottsdale, like a little past, in between Thunderbird and Greenway.
Okay.
It's beautiful. But yeah, they specialize in seafood, and they also have different like proteins and stuff as well.
Sounds
But
great.
Nelson's and
This
Chula.
is
Don't they have
high-end,
steaks?
high-quality
Yeah,
stuff.
it's it's the
I
best
mean,
quality.
Wagyu, they have
you
A5,
could go
like-
there
Yeah.
and buy seafood retail, and this is the same, they're getting this seafood from the same people who are supplying Michelin 3-star restaurants.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's that
It's
level
incredible.
of quality.
Wow.
You pay for it. Like it is
Oh, yeah, it ain't
pricey,
cheap.
but you know that you're getting.
It's
a-
called Nelson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Nelson's.
Nelson's
I'm
meat
definitely
fish.
gonna go there.
So when you're
Sounds amazing.
cooking, and it's nice to support something. Who owns Nelson's?
I always forget his name.
There's a couple of guys that own it.
Oh, I thought you
'Cause I know
know.
there's a
Richard
name.
Betts doesn't know. Oh my gosh, the food and wine snob doesn't know. Oh.
I'm old, I forget.
Okay,
That's
so what
my
are we drinking here?
excuse.
Because this is delicious, and
This
I know
is
this is one of your
lovely.
favorites.
So this is a skin contact pet nat that we have. It's from Austria, which I thought it was called Naken, but I'm pretty sure it's Naken, as Richard
I think it's
pointed
called
out.
naked. Like I think it's trying
They
to say
don't say that in Austria. They wouldn't pronounce it Naken in
Yeah.
Austria.
knocking, naked.
Yeah.
Okay, let's find out.
It's more
Let's
fun to
have
say
a bet.
Naken, but
Well, and happy
Listen.
birthday, Richard. A little
Happy
happy birthday.
Oh, I need a little more to
Tomorrow.
celebrate the birthday.
Thank you.
Happy
One day is
birthday.
close enough.
That's
But,
close
but this
enough.
is going to
Happy
air
birthday,
on your
Richard.
birthday. This is going to air one sip
That's it.
on your birthday. So you got to have a sip or it's bad luck. Here we go. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to
Thank
you.
you.
You look like a monkey. No, just kidding.
But a good-looking one.
And you sound like one, two. Is that the singing?
This wine is very nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's light, refreshing. I love
Lovely.
the light bubbles
Just
to
lovely.
it.
Very
And it doesn't
nice.
overpower anything, so I
Mhm.
feel
Check
like
it
you
out.
gotta have it.
How do they make
Look at
that?
this.
And you called it a pet
Look at this,
something?
King. You
Pet
see
nat.
this?
Say that slowly.
Pet nat.
Is that
PET and then NAT.
It stands for Petulant Natural.
what does that mean?
Means petulant means sparkling, and natural means it's natural.
Okay.
Because aren't
Okay.
they like naturally fermented in their own bottle?
Yeah. See, here's the deal. Way before
Mhm.
they discovered method champenoise. Method champenoise is where you make still wine, you put it in a bottle like this, and a thick bottle, then you add sugar and yeast, and a secondary, and then you cap it off, just like they cap this bottle, and then a secondary fermentation occurs in the bottle.
Mhm.
That's method champenoise. Well, way before they ever did that, pet nat is simply you're fermenting the wine, but you bottle the wine before it's fully fermented, before the fermenting is gone. So in other words, the sugar has not been converted to
Into
alcohol
alcohol
and
yet.
CO2 by the yeast. So when you do that, now that the amount of fermentation that's still taking place produces the bubbles. That's the original sparkling wine.
Okay.
Mm.
So would this be a higher alcohol content
No.
or lower?
No.
They vary. Because
Okay,
I've
yeah.
had some pet nats that are only
This
like
is 11%,
7,
which
and then
is
this was
yeah,
11.
which is
So this is exciting. We've done so many shows on wine and champagne and
And this
alcohol,
is
and
fairly
we've never
dry.
done a pet nat.
Yeah.
We've
This is
never
fairly
had a pet
dry.
nat.
Now check this out. See this? See this? Bio-cult. Guess what that means?
I don't know.
Organic. bio.
Oh, okay. So are most of your wines you select organic?
And this is also
selection.
skin
Okay,
content.
okay.
So you have 2 white grapes here, Pinot Gris and Muscateller, both white grapes. Skin contact, which creates so-called orange wines. So now, in other words, they're either getting a lot of skin contact before fermentation, or skin contact all the way through fermentation. And if you look at the color,
It's so delicious.
it's
I
a little
absolutely
bit
love it.
of color,
Wow.
but not a lot.
Yeah.
No wonder why
So
it's one of
this
your
is
favorites.
Absolutely delightful.
So
Where
what
you
will
getting
this
this
cost
from?
at your restaurant?
Who's the distributor?
Oh, I believe this one's Action Wine.
Oh yeah,
And then
cool.
And as we're drinking this, can somebody crack open some of these food items that
Yeah.
you
I
prepared
brought-
for
I
us
brought
to eat?
5
We don't need to
things.
rush into that.
Well-
We'll get there.
Well, we only have another 30 minutes, so
Yeah, this is gonna be a shorter one.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So could you bring some of the
Well,
food
let's like stay on the conversation and then eat the food.
Okay.
He's like right in the middle of his story.
out? Okay. So you.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Aren't
We
you
got the
invested
Fox
in
yet.
this story?
Yes, I am. So you're now. He's right. So now you're with
At
Sam
Little
Fox.
Cleo's with Sam Fox, which
And-
was unbelievable because at the time there were no. It was very like you're gonna open a seafood restaurant in Arizona, and I appreciate one thing about him is one, he had the money behind it, and two, he was like, cool, I don't have to make money. It needs to be quality ingredients and a really cool experience that you. Right at the time, no one thought you could get in Arizona,
Yeah.
and it was such a
I
beautiful
think
place.
that was kind of a personal project for him,
100%.
right? And it, like you say, he didn't care if you
No.
just broke even or whatever. But you know, and it did stay open for a number
think it was
of
3
years.
years
Yeah,
total.
3 years.
Well,
But-
I'm a huge fan of Sam Fox restaurants. I
Absolutely.
frequent all his
Yeah.
restaurants, and isn't that how we met through Shannon?
Yeah. My best friend Shannon, who works at Elements, got the privilege of serving you, I'm sure, countless of times. But
At
I
many
met
different
her
restaurants.
at Fox.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
worked together at the Henry when we
So
opened it
how
up.
And that's where I
many-
originally met Shannon, is at the Henry,
Yeah.
and
That's
then
funny.
Chet knows her too.
Nice.
So let's hear the
And-
next step in the story after
Okay.
Cleo's then.
So what happened next?
That's when I started jumping around everywhere. After
Sam Fox restaurants.
Yeah. We started getting into like new store openings, and Culinary Dropout was the biggest new brand at the time. So I would go around, and then it just kind of turned into anytime they were opening one or needed help at one or anything like that, because I was lucky enough. Like they're so organized, their menu, their recipes,
Yeah.
like they're by the gram. Like there's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
margin for error,
Right.
which is amazing when you're doing a business that big.
And that's important when you're not, like, if Sam Fox can't be at every restaurant
Yeah.
every minute,
Well,
so
and
he
he
has
has-
to train people the right way.
At the time, his two main, Clint Woods and Jason Franson, who,
I know Clint.
oh really?
He's the motorcycle guy with all the tattoos.
Yeah.
I've got his
Yeah.
number right here on my
Oh,
phone.
yeah.
I can
He's-
show you.
He's
I love
unbelievable.
Clint.
But they were the
Yeah.
two like top that created
Yes.
the menus and then were
Yes.
in charge of everything.
Yes.
So talented, and like unfortunately when I was
I
younger,
love Clint.
you would see a lot of repetition on Fox places, so I didn't want to like go over there because I thought I was like, oh, it doesn't make sense, like they're not trying that hard. But when I got into it, I made so much sense of what they were
Yeah.
doing and how they were hitting a certain clientele and making sure that all the restaurants could. That's so funny. Yeah, he's amazing, and it says Top Chef for all Sam Fox restaurants.
So how long were you with Fox total?
Just about 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
during
huge amount
that
of time.
time, you did get all the nuts and bolts about the business
Oh,
side.
Every
Yes.
side,
of
which
Yes.
was amazing because
restaurants.
I got to be around and meet everybody at
Yeah.
the time. And like I was telling her and Wendy a story of how amazing Hillstone is, but at the time the VP of Fox, his name was Dan Clay, worked with them before he came over to Fox, and he was the most attention to detail like kind of person because of what Hillstone Group
Oh,
taught him.
yeah.
Well, hold on. So
They're
we
known
were
for that,
discussing
too.
how the Hillstone Group is about perfection. Like the food is always
Every
consistent, it
time.
always tastes
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
and a lot of restaurants try to emulate
Absolutely.
those restaurants. And I met this. I can't say what his name is, top secret,
Yep.
but he
Top
gets
secret.
paid by top restaurants to go in and find mistakes and find
Yeah.
flaws and find and he's anonymous, and so I can't say his name, but he always tells restaurant owners, go pay attention to what they do at Hillstone,
Absolutely.
I would love
Because
that's
of
a
the
job
perfection.
I would love.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Just to be able
Really.
to enjoy good food and
Yeah.
give them like little critiques on everything.
Yeah.
A professional Karen, basically.
Yes, actually, yes, because you're looking for problems.
But I mean, like one of my favorite things that I realized was like at Fox they have secret shoppers and stuff very similar to that.
Yes.
It's part
Yeah,
of your like bonus
it should
structure
be.
and stuff. And they also do a thing still to this day called Red Card, Green Card, which is an alcohol program that if you don't ID someone that looks under 35, you get a red card and you're immediately terminated.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
To protect, I mean, the liquor license are very expensive. They're very hard to hold on to.
And aren't the fines really bad too when they're caught with that? Yeah.
Back in the day, they weren't as bad. It would hit the business, but now they can go after the individual and the business and pull your license.
Oh wow!
And some licenses are like $250,000 to more, depending on what you're doing.
So it is important. It is so important.
Well, you
Sure
have
it
to
is.
protect
Are you kidding me?
anybody out there too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But whenever I go to a new restaurant, if I like the restaurant especially, you know, and I notice little things that I give feedback. I don't get online and start complaining about shit.
Mhm.
I give the restaurant, I have enough respect
Mhm.
to give them feedback because that's what they need, right?
Absolutely. You always just want to be better. Like,
So not his restaurant, but there was a restaurant. I'm not gonna say it out loud, but remember how there was a hostess that was always like, "Do you have a reservation?" And they don't say the name of the restaurant, and they were always like empty. And then anyway, so I told Richard, I said, I'm not going back to this restaurant anymore because I'm tired of this. Like, the place is empty, and then they end up seating me, and then I watch, and then when I leave, they're still empty. But they were rude to me about seating me.
Yeah.
So he said, I won't tell anybody. But then he told them.
No.
And he
the
goes, they want to
owners-
know.
The owners were friends of mine.
Absolutely.
And when I told them I had this friend who had this experience here, they said, "Oh yeah,
Twice.
Well, yeah, but this person
tends to do that.
is an issue, and we're looking at it."
And so, long story short, then the next time I was in there, I knew he told them. They were like, "Oh my gosh, how are you? We're so glad you're back." And,
Right?
and I called Richard and I go, "No, you told them." He goes, "I did." He goes, "I told them."
So
because
what
I
were the
wanted them
next
to know."
steps in between working at Sam Fox, restaurant concepts, and then starting your own restaurant?
A lot.
Did
So
you work
we
for
wanna hear all
Upward
of it. We wanna hear
Projects
all of it.
too?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another amazing group.
Do you know what restaurants those are?
Let's listen.
Okay, good job. Let's go.
So yeah, jumped around, got to do all their things, opened amazing restaurants, and like all in all, it was like
We have a lot of time, so take your time.
35 like restaurants for them.
For Sam Fox.
Yeah, like on their new openings and stuff like that.
Were you hands-on with Sam Fox, or did you ever like?
Sam's so busy. I mean,
Yes.
because when I
Were
started,
you ever?
Yeah, we got to do
Mhm.
tastings with them, especially when we opened the Henry, because the test kitchen's inside. You know that beautiful back
Oh,
room.
beautiful.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so all the R&D would be done there. So you would
Really?
have
Oh,
Clint
yeah,
and
I
Jason,
forgot about that.
and then like Chris Woven, the first guy that I ever interviewed with, became a like top chef for them, and he worked at the French Laundry back in the
He
day.
did?
Yeah, and
That's huge.
he
The French Laundry. Do you know about that? Wow.
Thomas Keller.
Oh my gosh.
So he had an amazing. There were so many talented chefs there, and it's funny because at the time when I was younger, I didn't think there were, and then you got to meet him, and you're like, holy crap! Sam kept them reined in because he was like, hey, I know you want to do this amazing food. Let's do those things, but this might be too complicated for like the general public. So he would rein them in on a lot of things.
He would
Like
have
he would
to,
let them
yeah.
be creative, but he was like, hey, I don't think the average cook can do this, and like stuff like that. So it was cool to see the process because being from the outside, you didn't see that.
Mhm.
And that was the cool thing about Sam is he really knows what his clientele's looking for and what's going to work and what's not going to work. When
Well, look at him. He's like so brilliant.
unbelievable.
And
Yeah.
what I love is you worked for him for 10 years and you love him and you appreciate
Oh,
him
absolutely.
and you speak so highly of him. And that is
I'm so thankful for what
I
I,
love
learned from
that.
them. I wouldn't be where I'm at or
I
owning
love
a
that.
restaurant at
That's
35. Like I wouldn't be there without what they taught me there and how they did it and how analytical and like everything they did. So after that, it was just time for me to move on. Like I was there for such a long time. Some of the main key components were leaving. We knew cheesecake was coming into it because obviously
Yeah.
that's not an overnight thing. Like they were coming in and
well, no, you were ready to start your own thing.
yeah, and I just wanted to keep on learning as much as possible. And then
Be your own boss.
Eric Ramirez, the chef that was Little Clio's, just had left and took over as the director of culinary for Upward Projects.
Yeah.
So he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to be part of this?"
So Eric
Wonderful.
Ramirez, upper
Upward Projects.
You know
Upward
Upward Projects, Kinga?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
Postino.
Yep. Yeah,
Which
that's,
is a
that's the bread and butter.
brilliant-
Yeah, Postino,
Postino.
Joyride, Federal, Windsor,
Yep.
Churn,
And what about that pizza one? Federal Pizza.
Federal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you said
said
that.
that.
You said that. Okay.
and they have an
Yeah.
amazing like they call it the block, but all of them are right there, which is such a genius thing because you can jump around. You can have
Yeah.
whatever a heavy Italian
Yeah, the
dinner,
taco
Mexican
place,
food,
too.
Joyride. Yeah.
Yeah, Joyride, yeah.
And then
So from Sam Fox, you went to Upward Projects.
Yep. I was
Okay,
there
so
for 3 years
Did they lure you over, or why did you want to go there?
because of Eric Ramirez.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the
Okay,
chef at the
listen.
time.
Yes, but why? But still, why?
He was just a phenomenal chef. Like he
Mhm.
not only super talented, but he's just one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Remember, he was the chef at the little seafood place.
Little Cleo.
Yeah,
Little
Little
Cleo.
Cleo's, yes.
Same guy.
Yeah, but Sam Fox's restaurants are keep growing.
Oh, 100%.
He's always innovating and doing something new and exciting.
Yeah.
But you thought you wanted to have more experience because you knew all
I
along you were
wanted to
going to open
learn
up your
from
own restaurant.
him too because
Mhm.
he was so passionate, super talented, and more than anything, it was also his like mannerism and like his respect for people because a lot of chefs are known to be like hot-blooded and like
A little.
temperamental, and that's
Really?
not how he is.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Gordon
Really,
Ramsay.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
fucking raw.
Yeah, no, chefs are very known to run hot and
Gianna's
cold really
not.
quick.
Oh yeah.
But maybe she is behind the scenes. I don't know. I like Giada.
But
You
because
seem
when I
like
was
you'd
young,
always be calm and like.
when I was younger, I wasn't though because I was
Really?
working with like Aaron May and Walter Sterling run hot. So that's what I was like kind of exposed to at the time. So I thought it was kind of normal, and then I'd meet other people like Eric and stuff, and I was like, oh look, I can be good at my job, but still have a respect for my staff because like there's only so much you can do before your staff stops respecting you if you're not respecting them.
And they're gonna do better work if they like you.
100%.
Yeah.
So
So true.
it reined me in
Mhm.
quick. So that's why I wanted to follow him because I really wanted to emulate the chef that he was for myself.
So Chet's cousin, my nephew, works for Sam Fox, and he loves Sam Fox.
At Global,
Yes,
Nice.
he loves Sam Fox. He just thinks he's great. So
It's
he has the same experience as you
unbelievable,
do.
yeah. So
Yeah. So
Upward was amazing. Lauren Bailey, the CEO, and Craig DeMarco
They're
are two of the
genius.
nicest people
They're
ever,
geniuses.
and then they're geniuses.
oh, geniuses. Okay.
Yeah, look how far Postino is spread. How many states they're in now? I don't even know.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I was just talking with my friend Joyce actually 2 days ago about how that plan or their menu is genius because you're basically eating a little piece of bread with a little bit of topping on it
Yeah.
that takes anybody can make.
Oh, there's a lot of
And there's
other,
wine.
There's a lot of other food on the menu now.
Not much.
No,
There's not
no,
much.
there is. You
The
haven't been there
the
in a while.
food's really
obviously.
good.
I mean,
the other food items.
You obviously
Are
have
really
not
good.
been to
And
a
no,
fish-
no, it- no,
When's
it-
the last time you went to a Postino?
I eat there all the time.
Well, then you know the menu is
Postino Showdown.
I mean,
Right?
they
No,
only have one.
I've been there
There's a
more
lot-
recently
they
than
have
you.
a lot more
They have
than,
cocktails
than
Do they
They
now?
just rolled out a cocktail program.
When
Yeah.
did they do that?
Oh, yeah.
The last 2-3 months.
So you haven't been there in a while then, I guess.
It's very new.
Well, I don't
but-
drink cocktails, so I wouldn't have paid attention to that.
So they
But,
rolled
yeah.
out a cocktail program.
There's a food
very,
menu
very
now, too.
small, but cocktail program at the Postino group,
Yeah.
and then at Federal,
Yeah.
because Federal was just beer and wine.
right.
Oh, I did
Joyride
not know
and
that.
Windsor at the time were the only ones that had bars, like full bars.
So here's
Okay.
the cool thing
I
about
love
Postino,
Windsor.
though.
Mhm.
For as large as they are,
Mhm.
the wines they have there are amazing.
I agree.
Brent-
I 100% agree.
I know Brent. I used to
He's
sell
unbelievable.
Brent wine when he was at the original Postino's
I love that.
on 40th and
His wife
Campbell.
Molly worked with me at Soli Sombra.
Oh, really?
So it was a
He knows
funny
everybody.
thing that like happened
yeah.
like when I started working there. Like I remember the first time I met her again, and she was like, "Are you Brent's little brother?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it was just a funny like, "Holy cow!" Like how many years? But Brent's such an amazing wine guy. Like he's
Yeah,
so
he's-
talented and
he's-
he's so passionate
he's
about it.
gotten
So
really
his
good.
wine program is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
So we had
Yeah.
a sponsor for this show for 2 years in a row, Paul, and Paul's favorite place was Postino. So I would go there all the time. In
Yeah.
fact, I saw him the last 2 Sundays. We watched football. Sadly, his dad is not doing well. But anyhow, we need a glass of wine with the wine you brought
Oh yeah. I wanna try
because
that.
I'm going to be sipping it.
Yeah.
And should we, as we keep talking about your story,
Yeah.
should we eat some dumplings?
We can.
I don't want to be
Yeah,
told.
yeah.
Let's finish hearing his story first,
Well,
though.
the show might
It's
be
gonna be
over.
annoying talking with our mouths full. Let's do like a food review at like for the last like 5 or 10 minutes. But so out of all these restaurants that you worked in, what do you think was the number one most influential that like shaped how you opened your restaurant as
That's a great question. That's
like
a
there
great
because
question.
you worked at a bunch, but there has to be one that is like the
Which
biggest
Fox
influence.
Damn it. And what
Whether
chefs?
that was because of the chef or the restaurant itself.
Honestly, it'd probably be a twist up between Soli Sombra and Little Cleo's.
Okay.
Those are my two favorite. Soli Sombra got my foot into it, and like Spanish cuisine and everything like that. And still to this day, like I love other countries' like idea of dinner because it's not everybody
Yeah.
getting this huge entree per person. It's sharing and it's experiencing and
different flavors,
yeah,
different plates,
and
smaller.
like everybody being able to talk and collab, and you also getting to try a bunch of things.
Mhm.
When you have too many like of one thing, your palate just shuts off.
And it's kind of
That's true.
boring.
Yeah.
That's
It's,
fun,
it's boring to
isn't it?
have a full plate of the same thing.
Yeah, so Soli Sombra for sure on that one, and then Eric Ramirez and Little Cleo for sure because of his attention to detail, but also just the quality of the food that was in there. We were closed on Sundays because you couldn't get fresh seafood in. So the respect to what we were trying to do, I appreciated that so much.
Staying true to the quality.
Absolutely. And like there's so many places that are like, oh yeah, we get our seafood every day, this and this, and they'll be open Sunday and that. And it's a little white lie, but like still, like they didn't want to bend on that, and I really, really appreciated it. So I would say those two are the most influential, especially the Spanish. At least the idea of it, like not all my stuff, but there's a lot of Spanish influence in a lot of my food.
Your food is so
Spanish.
good.
Not meaning Mexican.
Yes, Spain.
Big difference.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So let's shift to talking about Azlin a little bit. What are some of your favorite dishes on the menu then? Because you said it's really diverse in terms of what you have,
I mean,
but a lot of Spanish influence, it sounds
There's
like.
Spanish, Italian, a little bit of Mexican, and a lot of Asian
Oh,
influence.
very cool.
I've never worked at an
Yes.
Asian restaurant, but it is like one of my favorites to play around with, and honestly probably the one that I'm the best at, even though I've never worked at. And I would also say that's because of Eric Ramirez, because he's a Mexican guy, but he was in love with Italian and Asian food, so he got to
Really?
play around with a lot of the food on that.
So one of my favorite things that I did, you were so sweet to host me and Wendy,
Yeah.
and we came there and we pigged out on all of your good food. Like I kept eating and eating and eating because it was so good.
I appreciate
But that broccolini.
and I brought that with
Okay,
us.
can we crack that open?
Yeah.
Yes, I want that.
Broccolini. She
It's
wants
so
the
good.
broccolini.
It's kind of
Now.
steamy. It's hard to tell which one's
So
which.
broccoli
It's a
will
steamy
be this one.
broccolini.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to
I'll
grab
let
it?
you-
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because we can eat it like French fries. Okay, here we go.
So, I mean, it's a little cold now, but it's
No,
a
no,
charred
it's perfect.
broccolini with a Spanish romesco sauce,
Oh, Romesco, yeah.
and then I make just a nice crispy breadcrumb on it that we take
I'm
panko,
stealing it.
lemon
Yeah.
zest,
There's mine. Everybody
salt,
take one.
pepper. So I really, really enjoy it a lot. And you just literally put a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper, put it directly on the grill, and just get a really
You
nice
didn't get
crust
any
to it.
sauce.
Very
And then the sauce
There you
makes
go.
it. The romesco sauce is literally my favorite sauce.
I'll take it for
Oh,
you.
if I did that for you, you'd scream.
What are the actual technical difference between broccoli and broccolini? I've never actually learned that.
That's a good question.
Because they seem similar, but I don't know what the actual difference
It's like
is.
a baby broccoli.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Is it healthier?
Although
I don't know if it's healthy.
it is a little bit different.
Well, I think there's some cross
Yeah.
pollinating and
Yeah,
stuff with it on it.
exactly. yeah.
I couldn't get into the science into it. I don't know that as well, but it's my favorite because I don't love broccoli.
I mean,
I
it's a lo-
love broccoli.
I like the.
Well,
I
yeah,
like it better.
I had
actually.
some broccoli last night, but you know, I sautéed it with some interesting stuff, and it tasted
So good.
great.
Well, and that's the great thing about those, like that.
Yeah, wow, this is
cauliflower.
very good.
Isn't that excellent?
Simple.
And the romesco sauce is kind of
Yeah,
like
The
Yeah,
perfect amount
Romesco.
of salt, too. It's like
What's in
vegetables
romesco?
without salt are not good.
So romesco is a traditional Spanish sauce that's with roasted red peppers, Marcona almonds,
Oh, yeah.
sherry vinegar,
That sauce.
tomatoes and red
olive oil,
peppers.
and then a little bit of chili
That's a
flake.
rockin'
Just
sauce,
blend it up, and
boss.
it's amazing with vegetables, but it's also really, really good with protein.
Yep.
So I have a skirt steak dish that has that just beautiful skirt steak that I marinate with onion, garlic, and pineapple because the pineapple brings down any enzymes and makes it even more tender, even though skirt steak already is.
I
I
didn't know
like
that.
romesco so much, I ice my cake with it. It's that good.
This would go really well with steak. That's a
Oh, it's
Oh, yeah.
so good with
Yeah.
steak.
It's
Steak
so
and
good.
steak and pork. I mean, honestly, chicken too. It's just good.
I mean, to
it's one of my
make broccoli
favorites.
broccolini taste this good, it's amazing. Do you want to pass
It's
it to Gabe?
broccolini.
Yeah.
Gabe, that's yours.
Have some
Okay, so where are the
broccolini.
dumplings? We want to try the dumplings.
The dumplings will be right
The
here.
dumplings are incredible too.
So these are mushroom pot stickers that we make.
Pot stickers. That's
Pod
it.
stickers, pod stickers.
So if they're pot stickers, you're using the, what do they call it? The wrappers.
Yep, the wonton wrappers.
Wonton, thank you.
Yep.
Pillsbury wine we're drinking because guess who's going to be carrying Sam Pillsbury wine?
Yep. Well, only thanks to you though.
Pierce Azlin is going to have is going to have the Sam Pillsbury wine. I don't know which ones you're going to carry,
Thank you.
but what do you think of this one?
It's really good.
Isn't that great?
It's so good.
It's so good.
Nice, huh?
Oh, Pillsbury's wines are incredible. It's
they are
amazing that they're
incredible.
made right here in Arizona too.
Yeah, and I'm excited for that. Like, and it was her idea too. Like, I love doing everything as much. I'm a third generation from Arizona.
Definitely a little spice in there.
It's got a little bit of heat.
Oh, do we have the dumplings yet?
Yes.
Oh,
He's gonna grab one right now.
Grab two because they're so good. Okay, I'll take.
Pass it over.
There's these ones.
Wonderful.
I guess I have a fork somewhere.
Yeah, and the filling, I mean, I would say it's simple, but I guess it's because I've been doing it for so long. But we cook down a ton of shallots, onion,
Here
garlic,
it is.
chili flakes, sambal, make a mushroom demi sauce, a little bit of cream cheese, and a ton of
So
mushrooms.
tell everybody what sambal is.
Sambal is a chili paste.
Yeah.
So they ferment Fresno chilies and whatever vinegar, usually rice wine vinegar.
So is it probiotic?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, it is fermented, but I would have to like dive into it.
Oh my god,
but
so good.
we steep that down and
Oh
let
my
that
God,
filling
that's
cook
spicy.
for a long time.
Yeah, it's hot,
Yeah.
but in a good way.
Yeah,
That's what I like. Wow.
yeah, and we make the sauce that has the heat to it.
This is exciting.
the
This
ponzu
food's exciting.
sauce.
That's so delicious. Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, I can have like 2 orders of this.
Actually goes very well with the
Wow.
wine.
Yeah.
It does.
Coincidentally.
Sam,
And I love making
where's
things
Sam?
that are vegetarian that you wouldn't expect them to be. Like, yes, I could easily, and I have done like braised short rib in this before.
Wow, that's
and it's
so good.
unbelievable.
Right.
But that's an easy one. That is
Yeah.
like I like having dishes.
So, 44% Viognier,
Okay.
which is a grape that's thriving here in Arizona. 33 Chardonnay and 21% Malvasia. Malvasia
Wow.
Bianco is a grape that has kind of become synonymous with the best white wine grape that we're producing here in Arizona.
like
And one thing I can say about
Very
Sam is
fragrant.
he aligns with your attention to detail with like making sure every batch is perfect. He actually talked about it on one of the shows that he came
Yeah.
on, that he had a batch of grapes. I forgot what ruined the quality of them. I forgot if he said they got too wet or too dry or what it was. But he just like scrapped all of them, like didn't even sell them or anything.
But that's
So-
amazing.
So yeah,
to
he's the type
hear
that
from
does
a
that.
consumer side that you're like
Yeah.
that integrity is there.
Yeah,
So
he
he-
ate like more of a loss that year and made less wine because he wanted to stay true to the quality. So that's the type of
He farms organically. He's
Okay.
not certified because that's a pain in the ass, takes a long time, costs a lot of money. But
Lot
he
of money.
farms organically. Native yeast, doesn't use, use the native
That's
yeast.
cool.
And it's just impeccably made, grown. The grapes are impeccably grown and impeccably made. So it's good wine.
I'm excited. Yeah, I know. I think he said he was going to be
This
able
is
to
his wild
shop
child
in 2
white.
weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because he's harvesting and he's doing
Yeah,
all
he's
that.
busy right now.
He's
but
so busy.
I can't wait for him to walk me through everything he has and
Yeah.
see what we can carry. And like it being from Arizona, I'm
The wild
super
child
excited.
white changes a little bit. The wild child white, wild child red every year because it depends on what they have to blend. So it's a
Yeah.
blended, but the blend can change every year.
That's cool though.
Which
I
is
like
fun,
that. That
right?
it gives it a unique personality
Yeah.
every single time.
Well, and then he has so many different. I mean, I love his. What's the red that we love? Diva.
Diva.
The Diva.
Oh yeah, you were saying they all had fun names too.
They all have fun names,
Yeah,
like-
yeah, like this one's Wild Child, and this is like I think one of his more affordable options, but still delicious.
Oh, one night stand. You've got to carry that one. One night stand. That's so
That's
funny.
the rosé.
it fits for the hotel.
Yeah. Hey, you can get that wine for
It does,
the,
it
the
does, it
party
does.
next
Yeah,
time.
yeah, exactly.
Does anybody want another dumpling?
I'm good.
I
What else
wanted
we
to
got?
save
What
room
else
for
we
more of
got?
the other
We got
food. They're
freeze
really
fries.
good.
I
though.
want one more, but
the
pass
mushroom
it to-
paste was amazing.
What else
Pass
you
it to
got?
Gabe.
Yeah.
Gabe
Want
hasn't
some
had it yet.
dumplings?
What else you got?
Those are
there?
my
He
favorite.
said he's okay for
Okay,
it.
then I want more.
What else you
So
got?
I have my spicy cucumbers as well,
Oh, those are so good.
which is the
Those are
smallest box
so
right there.
good. That might have been my favorite.
So it's just Persian cucumbers
That
that
and the
I
dumplings are
literally
my favorite.
will cut them and then I smash them with the back of a knife
Oh my gosh,
and
they're
then
so
toss
good.
them with a ponzu sauce, furikake, sesame seeds, fresh mint, green onion, and cilantro. So they have a good heat to them as well, but the cucumbers have a cooling experience to them. So
Very cool.
you're ready first. I'll give
And the reason why the Hungarians eat
if
some
you want to use
cucumbers
the lid, you can have.
is because it has silica, which is so good for your skin. And hair.
Yeah, well, and like that's the one thing I learned too between
yeah.
like Asian,
Lovely.
Indian, and Mexican food is there's a lot of heat in a lot of them, but they're so good for you and your skin and like all this other things that
And your
you want
metabolism, and that's why
100%.
those people are nice and slender
yeah,
Right.
because it helps burn fat.
Got a
Actually,
good crunch to it still.
yeah, and that's why like you'll go to like one of my favorite. Honestly, it is my favorite sushi place. It's called Sushi Friend, and it's this tiny little place.
Really?
It's right off of
I don't know that one.
7th Ave and Dunlap, but they got
Okay,
top
okay.
3 in the nation for
Okay.
sushi restaurants.
Yes, I've read about
And
that.
then-
Wow.
And
That's
Really?
and a lot of people don't know about it.
Okay,
but
wait,
it's
say it again. Where is it?
Sushi Friend, right off of 7th Ave and like
7th.
Dunlap. It's right next to the
Yeah.
brand new Oso.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's an
Oh,
adorable
so-
little place. At the time, it only had 6 tables and 4 bar stools, and you walk up, or put your order in, and the owner, his name's Kevin, is literally the one making the food, and he's greeting you when you're like walking in.
Really?
They just expanded next door, so they added like 8 more tables. But it's
Oh,
open.
I'm gonna check that out.
You said
Monday-
Sushi Friends.
Sushi Friend.
Very cool.
Monday through Saturday. They're only closed on Sundays. Right now, their hours are 12 to 7, but I know he's looking into expanding it because of the expansion. But
Sushi Friend.
And it sounds like it's getting fame and a lot of hype for the right reasons. It sounds like it's because the
100%.
food is amazing. Like I see some other places that are like getting a lot of hype, but it's because they're like clearly like Instagram pictured places.
So
But
whatever
this
we
sounds
have.
like it's a true chef making his
So I
like
should
art.
also have the short rib barbacoa with poblano grits.
Is that what this is?
If it has the green underneath it, then that's that. Yeah, that's the barbacoa.
Oh my gosh, this is so good.
The cucumbers are very interesting. I like them.
Oh my gosh. Well, cucumbers are so healthy for you. Read about it.
Did it steam closed?
These are always hard to open.
Mmm.
How about some bit?
Do you want me to try? I'll try pulling it from the bottom at the same time. There we go.
You just have to touch.
Wow.
Oh, they did.
Wow.
Right, right.
So do you want
so
to
good.
present it?
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite ones. So
Let
I
the
make
camera
a,
see.
I make a poblano grits,
Wow.
which makes it a beautiful green color to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it almost tastes like a green chili mac and cheese, as weird as
Ooh.
it sounds.
Wow.
And then I take bone-in short rib and make this special coffee rub that I've been using for years to make the barbacoa, and we slow braise it for 4.5 hours
Wow.
until you can just literally pop the bone out of it.
Mhm.
We shred the meat and then take the sauce that braised into it and reconstitute it and use that as like
Nice.
the sauce to like reheat it. And then
That's talent.
fried shallots, pickled up Fresnos, a little bit of shaved manchego cheese on it, and then cilantro that looks sad now because it's steamed, but it's really good.
I'm so
Excited
excited
to try
I'm gonna
this
grab
one.
my. Okay, here we go. I'll
Love a
take
good
little,
short rib.
I'll do a little short rib.
Yeah, it's super tender, obviously. Like at first when I was making it,
Ooh, hot.
I was going more of the traditional way of like having the bone in it and everything, but
Ooh.
I just like the approach that you don't have to like cut into your food too much.
What would you say are your 2 favorite entrees
That's a
on
good
the meal?
question.
Let's go one that's
You have a menu here?
one that's
Yeah, I have the menus and my
one that's either like a pescatarian or vegetarian for those
Check-
listeners,
and
and then
then
one
check
that's
it, and then
meat
you get the
option.
rest.
I
You
don't
take
want
it
the
home.
rest.
Oh, you don't want it? Okay.
Oh, I'll take it home. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
take it home.
you take it home.
All right.
I mean, I would say the vodka pasta that I have with
Really?
whipped ricotta is my favorite dish.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
And then the
So how is that prepared?
so traditional vodka sauce, shallot, garlic, chili flake, tomato paste, deglaze with vodka, and then blend it up.
Wow, the coffee rub makes that so
Wow.
interesting.
That's
Wow.
so delicious.
Rather.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
gosh,
amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's
wow.
that's my favorite.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
pass it
entree
back.
that I have.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Mm.
And it's very unique. You don't get something like that. Like you can
Nowhere.
get a vodka pasta a lot of places, but you're not gonna find that.
But I'm sure yours is the best. Wow, this is so good.
Barbacoa.
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Wonderful.
How long does this take to make?
It's like a 5-hour process.
Wow. This is incredible.
Yeah, that's the food menu right there. About a couple of them, and there's also a cocktail one as well. So Richard could see the wines.
No, that's good. So what would you say, what would you drink with this?
Ooh.
Gosh, that's so good.
I'll tell you
This
what
is
I
one of the
drink
best
with
dishes
this.
I've
Let's
ever
say
had.
he'll be able
Wow.
to tell you right away.
What would
And
you drink with this? This Sam Pillsbury wine tasting good with it.
Wine. What's Luno?
It's a red blend from
Portuguese?
Napa, I believe.
Luno Portal. Don't know that.
It's
That
really
short rib
good.
is
It's really
so
good.
good.
It's so
It's
good.
different, right?
The
Yeah.
red
So
blend.
good.
That might be good with this. You got a cab. The camp, I heard that was pretty good, yeah?
Yes,
Oh,
Kinga had that one.
I loved it. I
She
told him
loved
about it.
Yeah, because
I loved
she was
it.
between the one that we had earlier, the Naked or
Naked.
Knockin',
Naked
and
or
then
Knockin'.
Camp were the two that she was going between.
Were my
So
favorites.
you've got, looks like only 3 red wines. The Luno
Yep.
Portal, the Pinot Noir Division. Where's that from?
Division, I believe, is Oregon.
Oregon, yeah, that's great. And then the Cabernet Sauce.
so good.
That's a Napa cab?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, at first I only had one red.
And what was the rosé that's the Bon Jovi? John Bon Jovi.
The Hampton Water.
Did you know that John Bon Jovi has a wine?
No, I
It's
didn't.
a rosé and it has a beautiful woman diving into a pool.
The marketing's, I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful
It's
and it's
beautiful.
delicious.
Yeah, I
It's
thought
delicious.
it was really good.
I couldn't choose between. I liked them all.
Yeah.
And with
What's
what you were
this one?
serving,
What's the
everything was
last
so
one?
yummy.
So the
Open
last
that
one
up.
is another shareable item. It's my sesame hoisin pork ribs.
Oh wow.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Present those again.
Yeah. So slow braised ribs. I cook them with
Wow.
onion, garlic, ginger, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, chicken stock, and then just salt and pepper. About 4.5 hours for that. And then
Is
let
it
them
bone in?
Yep. And then let them cool down.
So that's another thing that you're kind of going with the Asian flair then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
I let them cool down, and then when you get an
Turn off
order,
the
they
fire.
get a quick flash fry, and then I take equal parts honey and
Doesn't
hoisin and a little bit of the ponzu sauce that was on the bottom right there, but these ones aren't spicy, and then toss it in it, a little bit of sesame seed, and then green onions.
Very good.
But
Excited to try
they
that
fall
too.
off the bone. They're really different. They almost taste like Chinese spare ribs.
Okay, they're so
Yeah,
good.
of
Chet,
course.
do you want to grab yours first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Grab yours, I'll grab one, and then we'll pass it to Richard. And you can take it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll take this one.
I'm so
Thank you.
happy.
Yay.
I'm
thank
so
you.
happy.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite appetizers.
Oh, yeah. I can
Oh
see
my
why.
gosh, wow. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Wow.
Very good.
I was on it, I didn't try any beef items because I was with some of the
Yeah,
Disney
as I
meat.
said, the first time you came in,
When it- yeah.
I wanted to make
That
sure
rocks.
that we gave something for
Yeah.
for
Well,
both of
you
you.
could have had this by yourself.
Wow, this was really
You
good.
could have had this by yourself.
I agree, it was so
Next
good.
time you go out with someone who doesn't eat meat, don't let them dictate what you eat.
Yeah. That's boring.
This is one of my favorite ones to eat at the restaurant when I'm not like too full, and I'll just do like steamed white rice and then that on top of it, so I
Yeah.
can just shred it on there. And
Oh
just
my
have a
gosh.
little, like little
That's
bite.
so good.
I
That's
appreciate
so
it.
delicious. Wow.
Stunning.
So was your mom a good cook? Is your mom a good
My
cook?
mom's a fantastic cook. She's one of the main reasons. Like, so obviously I have a typical chef tattoo, but each arm's for a parent, and this one says mother. 'cause
Stop
it's
it.
My,
That's so sweet.
It's what I fell in love with, and she's the
Aw.
big responsibility. And then this one says father,
That's so
because he's my
nice.
anchor, and he fought in Vietnam and aircraft carrier and stuff.
You were
like
the
Very
that.
cool.
nicest guy. No, it's the cutest thing. He told me that he told his parents, "Oh, I've got a new venture," but he
Yeah, I
didn't tell them.
him I was
You tell the
opening
story.
my
You
own.
tell the story. It's cute.
So when I got the space, I like mentioned to him that it was a possibility that I might do my own thing, but I didn't know where to begin.
Mhm.
And when I finally had everything, I was trying to think of a name of the restaurant. I really wanted to focus on Arizona because I'm very proud that I'm a third generation, because that's very rare here.
Huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's from my
Right.
dad's
That's a
side.
big
My
deal.
mom's from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
a
My
big
dad
deal.
was born and raised here, though.
Wow.
So he's older, so I won't say it on the thing because he'll get mad at me. But
That's good. You're
he's-
respectful.
He's seen Arizona blossom so much and change, and I thought it'd be a cool thing to kind of add my name / his name onto it. So I invited him for dinner and check out the new place that I was at. I never said it was like mine or anything.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
having them pull up and see the huge sign that says Azlin
Oh my
Of
God.
their last name.
and was really cool.
That's a cool surprise, yeah.
So it meant a lot for me, and I know it meant a lot for both of them on that.
And your
aspect.
parents have been married what?
Man, so
40 years.
41, I believe they're about to come up on.
And it was super cute because he said, you
Yeah.
know, I don't have a lot of friends that have parents
No,
that are
I
happily
don't-
married, and
I
my
don't
parents are
either.
happy.
Yeah.
And it's super sweet.
Makes a
Yeah.
And
difference.
I love that he cares about that.
Oh yeah, it means
You know,
everything
it's,
to me.
yeah. And I love that your attitude is so great. Like all the people you've worked with, you have great relationships with. No, sometimes people leave a business and like they have bad things to say about their former employer, and you only have good things to say.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be
It's
here
incredible.
without every experience that I had to. So even the negative ones, I've learned
Oh,
that I needed to.
You learn more from the negative ones.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
makes you a better person.
And it prepares you for the real world too.
So now,
Gabe, we don't have a time.
Do you have investors?
We have a few minutes left.
Do you have investors?
No. I have a partnership with the main owner of PHG, the
Okay.
company that owns
Good,
Clarendon.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Basically to cover all the lease and stuff like that.
Wonderful.
Which was an amazing experience instead of having to go through all the bells and whistles and
Yeah,
all
oh my
the
God.
hula hoops and stuff.
I know
so-
people who are still waiting after you. You know,
Oh,
Wessam. You know Wessam,
it
wine
sounds so
guy who was going to
familiar.
open this restaurant in Scottsdale.
And now he's going to be the Som at what's that place called? Lauder.
Lauder in the Delta.
Lauder in the Delta. He's going to be Som there.
know that
I'm so
story?
excited for that.
You know that story, right?
Well, I
That's
know
gonna be sick.
about Stephen Jones.
But we
I
only
know
have a few
that-
more minutes, and I want to go
Okay.
back to you because this is about you,
Okay.
and we will do more reviews and more shows with
Everything was amazing, but the short rib definitely stole
your
my
favorite?
attention. Yeah, that was so
Yeah.
Wow.
delicious,
Amazing. It's
unique.
Like, everything's.
Everything was very unique though. So
But I'm a vegetable. I love like the balance of everything.
you're a
Yeah.
vegetable.
Oh, sure.
Well,
That's what
Yeah,
you
I
said.
I mean, I'm
your
a
words,
vegetable
not
person.
mine.
I'm a vegetable
Okay.
person. I'm a meat person, and I like the balance. So I like
That's called
that you
an
make your vegetables.
omnivore.
But your vegetables taste exciting.
Yeah.
They're not
I
boring.
appreciate
I
that.
mean, nobody can make a vegetable taste exciting unless they're a great chef.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that speaks volumes. I mean, to make it spicy and with all that excitement
I used
in
to
it,
be a
it's just incredible.
vegetarian chef.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
It's more challenging in my opinion. Like
Yes.
you play with this like beautiful blank canvas where sometimes people get so wrapped up with the protein and that's like the main component to it. And it's like, yeah, you can make a good steak and it's gonna be delicious, but you have more room for error for it. Where veggies and stuff like that, you have to pay attention to detail for every single component. and make it
100%.
shine.
It's
So
about
one quick-
seasoning.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
the thing. People are afraid
Yes.
of it too.
Yes.
People are so afraid
And
of
the
seasoning.
spice. I love the spice. It's exciting.
It doesn't have to be.
Cheers. I
So
love
one,
it.
one
You love
question
your
I have
Azlin.
is I know
Azlin.
that the Clarendon is like kind of famously like a hotel where they like allow and celebrate consumption of cannabis on the property. So is that like something that kind of happens at the restaurant too, or
No,
not?
so I mean, obviously, like my liquor license
people try to
covers,
sneak it in there? Or no? They
more-
probably do.
more than I would
Against the
like.
rules,
Yes,
yeah.
because liquor and cannabis, like they can't be
Are you a
Oh,
fan of
interesting.
cannabis?
place. Yeah, I mean, I don't really partake too much, but I mean, I every once in a while.
You
I
like it?
I have bad anxiety, so it triggers my anxiety, so I don't like it.
Okay.
But I mean, I think everybody should be able to do whatever they want. It's
Yeah.
legal, obviously, in here. So I think it's cool at the hotel that they have the ability because they have
I think it's awesome. I love cannabis.
They
so
call it
I'm
like
a
their
fan.
lounge.
Yeah.
So you can buy a membership for it, and you go down like our hallway, like past the bathrooms, and there's this beautiful lounge that you can smoke in there, and then they have.
Oh, so they're friendly with that.
100%.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I was asking
first
about.
one.
One
Okay.
property is like pro
Yeah.
cannabis.
Okay.
It's really cool.
It's
It was
a pretty
one of the-
And what
hip
about the
property,
rooftop? 'Cause
Chad.
the rooftop has a lot of
Pretty hip.
parties and DJs and
Yeah,
all that.
they do huge like cannabis events up there and stuff.
Okay.
I just have to turn off my liquor license for wherever that event is if they're consuming any kind of like cannabis or anything
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
But they'll do amazing rooftop events that all the vendors from Arizona come in and like they show off.
Well, it's good now. People, if anybody's listening, they know that if they're going to the restaurant, consume before. Don't consume at the
well, and
restaurant.
there's a lot of regulars that pay their like they have their yearly membership to they'll come in and either get some food before or they'll like go in there smoke a little bit and they come to the restaurant and get it. But I also deliver the food to the cannabis lounge so you can sit there and smoke and
Oh,
get my
that's
food
nice.
Oh, that's awesome.